إن للمتقين مفازا حدائق وأعنابا وكواعب أترابا وكأسا دهاقا لا يسمعون فيها لغوا ولا كذابا جزاء من ربك عطاء حسابا رب السماوات والأرض وما بينهما الرحمن لا يملكون منه خطابا رب السماوات والأرض وما بينهما الرحمن لا يملكون منه خطابا يوم يقوم الروح والملائكة صفا لا يتكلمون إلا من أذن له الرحمن وقال صوابا ذلك اليوم الحق فمن شاء اتخذ إلى ربه مآبا إنا أنذرناكم عذابا قريبا يوم ينظر المرء ما قدمت يداه ويقول الكافر يا ليتني كنت ترابا صدق الله العلي العظيم اللهم صل وسلم وزد وبارك على رسول الله وآله الأطهار على رسول الله وآله الأطهار صلوات. Brothers and sisters, dear respected guests, once again, Assalamu alaikum jami'an wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. عظم الله أجورنا وأجوركم بمصابنا أبا عبد الله الحسين. I welcome you all to our Muharam programming, the first night of our Muharam programming here at the Islamic House of Wisdom. As you know, tonight is known as the Majlis of Istiqbal, the welcoming Majlis of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. As we know, tonight is one or according to some calendars, it could be either the night of Muharram or the night before the Muharram. So in many cultures, this night is known as Majlis Istiqbal. It's a reception and welcoming into Muharram. On a night like tonight, we should make our intentions known that for the next 10, 12 nights, 13 nights, for the next month of Muharram, how am I going to change for Abu Abdullah al-Hussein? So throughout tonight's lectures and throughout tonight's Musibah and throughout tonight's Latmiyah, think about that how am I going to change for Abu Abdullah al-Hussein? In terms of announcements, our programs begin every single night at 7:30 with the doors opening. We start with the Ziyarat Warith and the Quran recitation, and we head over to the English program and the Arabic program. The Arabic program is inside of the masjid with Sheikh Muhammad Musa and Sheikh Tawfiq Abu Khudr. So if you're here for the Arabic program, now's the time to make it inside of the masjid, inshallah. Our speakers, alhamdulillah, we're blessed to have 2 speakers every single night. We have both Imam Elahi and we have both Brother Hussain Charara, that they'll be giving their presentations every single night. So after my spiel here and my announcements, we'll go, inshallah, for Imam Elahi's presentation. In terms of other announcements, we have every single day a youth majlis beginning at 6 p.m. This is a majlis that's created by the youth, for the youth. The Latmiyah is done by the youth. This lectures and the presentations and the du'as and the rest, every part of it, the Quran recitation, the Latmiyah, the lecture, and the ziyarah as well, all of it is run by the youth. And like I mentioned, it is for the youth. For the youth that are here right now, we also have a program for you upstairs. So if you'd like to make your way upstairs, there is a specific program for the younger ones. Inshallah, I believe Sayyid Ali Alhakeem, who is our Latmiyah and our reciter for this Muharram, he'll be up there waiting for you as well. Every single night we have Maghrib prayers. So our programs tonight conclude with Maghrib prayers. And after that, we go for a light dinner. Donate, volunteer, serve Imam al-Mahdi and Imam al-Hussein by serving your community and your masjid here. Follow us on our WhatsApp, on our Instagram at Youth of Wisdom, at IHW Connect. The Facebook, that's where these go live, and on YouTube as well, IHW Connect. And I just want to mention just a small hadith before we move on. Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, he says that man baka aw abka aw tabaka faqad wajibat lahu al-jannah. That whoever does one of these 3 things for Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, Jannah becomes obligatory for them. Whoever cries for Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, whoever helps in making others cry, or whoever even puts and makes an expression of grief on their face, then what Jannah becomes wajib for them. Now, obviously, there are many hadiths like this, that you do this action, Jannah becomes obligatory. We know that it's not that you just cry for Imam Hussain alayhi salam, and then the rest of the year you're doing haram, or that you say labbaika ya Hussein, you cry for Imam Hussein, but then with the same tongue, you're saying haram things, you're listening to haram things with the same ears, or with the same eyes that you wish to see Imam al-Zaman, you're watching haram things. No, then it comes with a package that you're a good person, you're a good mu'min, and you cry for Imam Hussein. Imam Sadiq alayhi salam says that a part of your reward is that Jannah becomes obligatory for you. And I just want to mention the abka part, that you help others in crying for Imam Hussein. That means when it comes to the majlis of Imam Hussein, you invite people to the majlis. So that means sharing the flyer. You tell your neighbors, you tell your family members, you tell your brothers, your sisters, your children that, you know what, it's the majlis of Imam Hussein. This time is different. This time of the year is a different time. Come with me to the majlis. Imam says that a person that does this, Jannah becomes obligatory for them. And I do want to mention one more announcement that I forgot to mention. Inshallah, for the parents, for the fathers, we have a brothers camp or a father-son camp coming up after Ashura, July 25th to 27th. This is the 3-day camp. We have among our roster Sheikh Muhammad Ayad and Sheikh Dr. Bassem Jawad. It's a very interesting event that's going to go on, very fun, inshallah. If you'd like to register for that, you can do that at the office, inshallah. With that said, I would like to invite our dear Imam Elahi to the podium for his presentation after 3 loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Salam rahmatullah. Can I ask everybody, especially the adults of brothers and sisters, to move forward? This area is safer. I want to make sure that you live in a safe area and that your security is taken care of. So everybody move forward, please. So we want the adults in front because kids go back and forth, except the ones that are mature, like Ali and Zain al-Abidin. They don't move back and forth, they stay. But the rest, because more people are coming and we want to accommodate everyone, having place for everyone. So please don't be shy, sisters and brothers. Nobody is allowed to bite anybody in this majlis of Imam Hussain, and Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah. Assalamu alayka ya ibna Rasulillah. السلام عليك وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. One of the mustahabbat in the beginning of month of Muharram is to make 2 rak'at, a prayer of 2 rak'ats. And in each rak'at after Surah Al-Fatiha, you recite Surah Al-Ikhlas, Qul huwa Allahu Ahad, 11 times in both rak'ah. That is one of the mustahabbat. Of course, it is mustahab during the days of Muharram, especially before Ashura, for those who are able to fast. That is a mustahab. You don't have to. Though on the day of Ashura, fasting is makruh, is not encouraged to fast on the day of Ashura. But the days before Ashura, it is mustahab to fast. Based on the Islamic calendar, the beginning of Muharram is the beginning of a new year in Islamic calendar. So if you consider tomorrow or after tomorrow as the first day of this month of Muharram, then we are starting a year of 1447. And I know there are some communities in the Muslim world that they even celebrate because they say this is a new year, Sana Jadida. But of course, for us, out of honoring Ashura and the tragedy that happened in Karbala, we don't celebrate the beginning of Muharram. For us, Muharram is the month of mourning. It is not month of celebration. This event of Ashura happened on the year of 61. Of course, it's based on the lunar calendar, based on the moon, and not the solar calendar. So if you go with that, we are 1,386 years from the event of Karbala, because that happened on 61. And then now we are in 1447. That means that Ashura happened in 1,386 years ago. But of course, if you go with the solar system, it happened in 1344, 1,344 years, because every lunar year is 11 days less than the solar calendar, and that makes a difference. So the question is that after 1386, let's say almost 400 years from the event of Karbala, still we are observing this passion, this powerful passion for the event of Karbala. Despite of every effort by Bani Umayyah and Bani al-Abbas, that they did their best to eliminate Ashura's occasion, to force people to forget what happened on the 10th day of Muharam of 61 year after the Hijrah. They did their best. Many times they destroyed the shrine of Imam Hussain. They leveled the grave. So there was no sign. So people are confused. If they go there, they don't know where is the grave of Imam Hussain. But that could not stop that passion for centuries and centuries. They could not do that. One of the very famous Mal'un Mutawakkil al-Abbasi, he was a tyrant from the Abbasi family. He not only destroyed the grave of Imam Hussain again and again, but he persecuted and killed anybody in that neighborhood looking for grave of Imam Hussain to visit it. But that could not even stop people from visiting the grave of Imam Hussain. Finally, they made a law. They made a paper that, okay, you want to go and visit Imam Hussain? Come at the checkpoint. They put some checkpoints that anybody wants to go and do the ziyarah for Imam Hussain, your right hand is going to cut off. If you are ready for that, lose your right hand and go to the ziyarah. People were in the long lines and ready to lose their hand. The right hand is cut off, and they continue their march towards Karbala. There is a statement in Muruj al-Zahab al-Mas'udi is writing that there was a lady who came at the checkpoint, and the soldier said that, okay, are you a Zaira? She said, yes, I want to go and do the ziyarah. He said, okay, take your right hand out of your hijab, be ready to be cut off. The lady instead showed her left hand, left arm, said, I'm ready. The guy said, no, it should be your right hand. She said, I don't have a right hand. He said, what? She said, last year I came for ziyarah and your colleagues, they cut off my right hand. And now this year, that's all I have. This is what Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam said. إن لقتل الحسين عليه السلام حرارة في قلوب المؤمنين لا تبرد أبدا. This passion, this fire is burning brightly in the hearts of the faithful out of their love for Imam Hussain, and no one can turn it off. This continues. 1400 years of love, 1400 years of passion for truth, passion for justice, passion for dignity, passion for freedom. These are the message of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. This is felt not only with Atba Ahlul Bayt, the followers of Ahlul Bayt, even non-Muslims who care for truth and justice and freedom and human dignity. They have the same feeling. One of them, Bul Salama, is a Christian from Lebanon. He made poetry about Imam Ali, about Imam Hussain, Ashura. And this is what he said about Imam Hussain. لا يموت الحسين إلا حسورا لن يموت الحسين موت شاة إن صدرا يستهدف الحق صرفا ليس يخشى تأن القنا والذبات. This Christian scholar is saying that Imam Hussain, when he dies like a lion, not like a lamb, not like a sheep, like a lion. Then he said, when your heart is full of truth, you never scared with the sharp edge of sword and spear. Heart of Imam Hussain is full of truth, and then it is not going to be feeling the fear of force and sword. No way. The purpose of Imam Hussain alayhi salam is very clear. You know, all these wars in the world, all this mess, all this craziness, all this crisis in the world. What is behind it? Whether it's in Gaza, whether it's in Lebanon, whether it's in Yemen, now in Iran, everywhere. Why they do all this mess? Money, military, material, domination. These are the motivations. They're saying, what happened that now all of a sudden they stop this war against Iran? They say, oh, the oil is going to go up and the price is going to go up. They don't care about millions of people who die. They care about just the price of oil, and money, might, domination, invasion. That is the purpose. But for Imam Hussain, none of this. The purpose of Imam for his sacrifice, for his struggle, for going to Karbala is not money, is not might, is not domination. It is truth and justice. موت في عز خير من الحياة في ذل. Imam is saying that I prefer death with dignity than life with disgrace. I prefer to die with dignity rather than living but being disgraceful. These are the reason for this powerful passion that permanently continues till the day of judgment, and nobody can stop it. He said, سأمضي وما بالموت عار على الفتى إذا ما نوى حقا وجاهد مسلما. I move forward and I welcome death. And this is not embarrassing. This is not shame to move forward and die for the right purpose. If your intention is with integrity and your struggle is based on faith. This is the voice of Imam Hussain 1400 years ago. So much powerful, so much progress. Of course, we know not only in Islam, not only in Shiism, in many other ideologies and nations and cultures and communities, there are manasik. Honor for those people who sacrifice for
فيها عتاب, saying that I swear I love my wife Rabab and our daughter Sakina. I'm ready to sacrifice and generously spend all I have to make them happy, to make them comfortable. And I don't want anyone to blame me for my love, for my generosity, for my wife and for my daughter. وَلَسْتُ لَهُمْ وَإِنْ عَتَبُوا مُطِيعًا حَيَاتِي أَوْ يُغَيِّبُنِ التُّرَابُ. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to listen to them, whether I'm alive or I'm going underground. It's a huge lesson for wife, for the others, to take care of your husband and your father in a way that you make your dad so delighted and so happy that your dad is ready to sacrifice all of his property generously to make you happy. It's two ways. It's the way that you deal with your dad and your husband, and the way that your dad and your husband treat you. This is the mutual love and mutual respect and understanding. And Imam Hussain alayhi salam is teaching us this. The man of love not only for his Lord and his family and his neighbors, but even for his enemies. You think that only Jesus said, love your enemies? And I wonder how many Christians in our days, they love their enemies. I just had an interfaith meeting with some Christians a couple of days ago here at the Islamic House of Wisdom, and I said, Jesus says, love your neighbors. So how can you claim Christianity if instead of loving your neighbor, you hate your neighbors? Then you are not a follower of Jesus. And this is also the Quran. It says, ادفع بالتي هي أحسن فإذا الذي بينك وبينه عداوة كأنه ولي حميم. Treat your enemies in a way that you can transfer them. Because if you continue your hatred, you are not able to change them. But this transformation comes through your kind treatment, that you turn your enemies to your loving friends. Of course, if they have a capacity. If you are dealing with Netanyahu, you can never, no matter how much you love this person, you can never change him as a warmonger, as a criminal. You cannot change that because zalim, oppressor. But in general sense, love even your enemies. And this is another great lesson of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. His lesson is, you have heard that Imam Hussain is al-abra wal-ibra. The al-abra means tears from our eyes, that we come, and then Brother Ali is coming. He's coming from London. He's going to join us soon. And after Brother Hussain, after Brother Hussain, who is a friend of Hassanain, we turn this Ashura program to Abra, means our emotions for Imam Hussain. But at the same time, Ibra, that means education. That means to turn these nice brothers and sisters into Al-Abra and Ibra, the nice of emotion and intellect. Bukhar, that Hajj Ihsan said, of course, the purpose of Imam Hussain was not Bukhar. He didn't go to Karbala, get martyred, then we cry for him. But that is our duty. That is beautiful, to show passion and love for Imam Hussain, for his dignity, for his truthfulness, for his humanity, for his justice. We say, Assalamu alayki ya Abu Abdullah. We send our salam and salutation to Imam Hussain and to Ashab al-Hussain, those who follow Nabi Abdullah alayhi salam. Not only on the day of Ashura, Ashab al-Hussain in Lebanon, Ashab al-Hussain in Iran, Ashab al-Hussain in Iraq, Ashab al-Hussain in Yemen, Ashab al-Hussain in this holy place, in this house of God. And those who followed Hussain, that powerful statement of Hayhat minna Dilla. Subhanallah. You hear just a few days ago, President of the United States saying, surrender. You are going to kill the leader, change the regime, and you have to surrender. What happened? That the same president came out yesterday. I said, congratulations. I said, congratulations to people of Iran. You went through this war with courage and determination and intellect. Congratulations. God bless you. Of course, we don't want to count too much on these words because, 5 minutes later, that might be something else. But what happened? What happened that the nation is called to surrender themselves. But then they are honored. This is the meaning of Hayhat Minna. This is why people in Tel Aviv today are even happier because they feel some normality in life. Their life was paralyzed in the last 12 days. They never thought what happened. So if somebody like Trump, who 100% Israel coming and saying congratulations to Iranian people, the credit goes to Imam Hussain alayhi salam. The credit goes to Ashab al-Hussain alayhi salam. And that is beautiful. What we saw, it was heartbreaking in the last 12 days. But the beauty of love, the beauty of solidarity, the beauty of prayer, the beauty of support, the beauty of friendship, the beauty of the family life and faith life. That was amazing. So Imam Hussain is about love, brothers and sisters. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, أحب الله من أحب حسين. May God love those who love this man. May God love them. What is it? Because the life of Imam Hussain, the love of Imam Hussain, the light of Imam Hussain, Misbah al-Huda wa Safinat al-Najah. He showed this love even to his enemies. When the army of Al-Hurr al-Riyahi came and they were thirsty and weather was 120, 125. And the family of Imam Hussain, they are thirsty too. But he shared the water with them. This is the same family that the Quran says, وَيُطْعِمُونَ الطَّعَامَ عَلَى حُبِّهِ مِسْكِينًا وَيَتِيمًا وَأَسِيرًا. They are hungry, they are fasting, but out of their love, they share their food with the poor. Compare with what's going on now in the world. The Prophet said in the verse from the Quran, قُلْ لَا أَسْأَلُكُمْ عَلَيْهِ أَجْرًا إِلَّا الْمَوَدَّةَ فِي الْقُرْبَى. As this family loves you, the Prophet said, show your love for my family. إِلَّا الْمَوَدَّةَ فِي الْقُرْبَى. So we are starting 10, 11 nights of love, passion, and harara that never stops. And we are grateful to God for guiding us to Islam, to guiding us to Ahlul Bayt, for guiding us to Imam Hussain. So we have wonderful words tonight. I should stop for another half an hour. We are listening to one of the most inspiring, Brother Hussain Charara. I love this man and his family. When he talks, he brings you the reality of life, the ordinary life, because he deals with Wise Academy, with the students, he deals with the families, he deals with parents. He knows the challenges, he knows the struggle, he knows the problems. And each and every time that he comes to the podium, he deals with the issues that we need to listen. And then inshallah, when brother Hussain Charara is completed his presentation tonight, I want all the youth, brothers and sisters, come forward and be part of this Sinazani. We say Latmiyah here. Maybe Latmiyah is not the best word, but the presentation of our passion for Imam Hussain in the beautiful voice of our dear brother Sayyid Ali Alhakeem. He's coming almost 4,000 miles from capital of Britain, from London. And this is a big challenge for our community. A Sayyid from an honorable family, from Marja family, from Hakim family, all the way travels 4,000 miles from London to Detroit to serve us and to serve Imam Hussain with his wonderful, very unique and spiritual voice. And I'm so happy to see Brother Sayyid Alhakeem again. You know, he was our guest. Anybody remembers? Almost 10 years ago? Yeah, everybody is young. I don't know, in 10 years ago, where were you? Majority of you. But he is with us, inshallah. After Brother Hussain is done with his lecture, you would come here and we have time. So we have half an hour for Brother Hussain, and I spoke almost half an hour. And let everybody know that this might be my last Ashura. Usually you see that in Ashura I don't speak. I get the guest speakers to speak. But this year I decided, whether some inspiration to me, I don't know. I just decided, and I said that might be my last Ashura. You never know. I mean, everything that I say everywhere I go. So you never know. Of course, I don't want to die. I want to stay with you and continue for many more Ashuras. But you never know. It's just my heart that it might be my last Ashura. So I'm going to, inshallah, if I'm still alive, to complete every night for 20 minutes, 25 minutes, 30 minutes, do a lecture here and focus on many things that related only to Imam Hussain. Imam Hussain, our life, our akhlaq, our Quran, our family, our youth, our challenges. So inshallah you come. So let us welcome our wonderful guest speaker, who is part of Islamic Council Wisdom, Brother Hussain Charara. بعد الصلوات على محمد وآل محمد. فاتحة.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. All praise be to Allah, the Lord of the worlds, when His peace and blessings be on our beloved Prophet and His mighty Ahlul Bayt salawat. I want to thank Sheikh Elahi and his family. Sheikh Elahi has been doing 50 years at least of service for the community. Just recently watched him on the news, and always holding as an ambassador of Islam. And I honestly, I've been through my own depression of watching what's happening in the world. And the simplest way I could say is I feel I'm in like Yazid's palace, enjoying the fruits while Karbala is happening. That's how I personally feel. So the question is, over the next 10 nights as Muslims, what do we do about it? This place will always be home to me because this is where Islam was taught to me, the real deep. And the things that I learned from Sheikh Elahi, especially Hajj Hassanan, here, while he was speaking and I was sitting up there, changed my direction, changed my life. Now I want to pay it forward. But it's been difficult. It's been a difficult 2 years. Just today, Donald Trump posted, I don't know if you've seen it, on his Truth Social. He said, why is Israel attacking, guess who? Anybody know? Did you guys see it? Why is Israel attacking Netanyahu? This was a great war time ambassador and president. Why are they attacking him? Because now you know Netanyahu, if the war stops, he's under a lot of trouble. So it's interesting, like Sheikh Elahi was saying, you never know. The lines are very blurred. You don't know where truth and falsehood stand. Who cleared it for us was Imam Hussain alayhi salam. Imam Hussain saved the deen. He saved it not as a part of anything else but to save Tawheed. For us to practice Islam, that what we have now is from those auspicious occasions that Imam Hussain stood for. So for the type nights, we listen to Shaykh Elahi, it's just a little bit of that. And I will give practical lessons. You know, he's building a gym. And somebody yesterday, I was playing tennis. He said, after I was playing tennis with him, he says, I need to speak to you. Because I'm also a counselor. I do a lot of counseling in the community, from drugs to marriages to faith to, we're going to talk about it. Many sisters now are coming to me. I don't feel like I should be speaking to a woman about why she should be taking off her hijab. But people are referring them in the conversations. I'm going to share those conversations that I've had just in the past 2 weeks. Just yesterday, a brother said, 10 of my friends that were Shia, lovers of Ahl Bayt, are now turning into the Salafi school of thought. And he said, I don't know what to do. I said, I don't blame them. I said, why? He said, because just like gangs, why do people join gangs? What are someone looking in a gang trying to find? It's trying to find belonging. And usually those types of people have maybe a troubled past, or parents are not in the picture, and they're looking to be belonged. We need institutions like this to come into place where people could come and play, eat, and enjoy and learn. Otherwise, our community can fall apart. There's an attack on this community. Now prove it. Most sisters don't wear hijab in the community. Yes or no? Between the ages of 12 and 24. Yes or no? Most youth, brothers, don't pray between the same ages. Yes or no? Go to Crestwood, Dearborn High, Fort said, how many of them are stopping to have Jama'ah prayer? Very few. So what do we do about it? And that's what this momentous event is for, to bring us back to the foundation of Islam. So with that, Shaykh Elahi, I want to thank you and begin with a large salawat. Just a few lessons. Imam Hussain alayhi salam, when he came and he took the oath, and he's told, and he wrote his will, he said, I'm not here out of arrogance or rebellion or corruption. I'm only to seek to reform the ummah of my grandfather, and I wish to enjoy good and forbid evil and follow the way of my grandfather. So what happened? Muawiyah died. There was a peace treaty. And the reason why the peace treaty was held and Kufa was standing together was because of Imam Hassan alayhi salam. But as soon as Muawiyah passed away, within the treaty, he was supposed to give the imamate, the leadership, not the imamate, to Imam Hassan alayhi salam, not to his son. What did he do? He gave it to his son. So now the tribe leaders in Kufa said, no, we don't follow this. So thus, now he's receiving letters, Imam Hussain. And what does Yazid do? Right on the first day, the few days, he says, I want his allegiance. Go. And unfortunately, living in the West, this is where we have to spend the next 10 nights to see how are we giving our allegiance to the West from a negative angle. What are the things that we're obeying? So every day I'm going to teach a lesson about that. But the foundation of Imam Hussain is rooted on the why he's doing it, to promote good, forbid evil, and to follow the ways of the Prophet and the Holy Quran. I leave you those two things the Prophet said. So the question is, how? You have to understand your why. You guys know the Apple Pod, not Apple Pod, what was it called? AirPods, where you could, at the time, you would have to hold cassette players and other devices to listen to audio, to MP3. There was devices out there before the Apple device that were able to do the things just as effective as an AirPod, if not better. The AirPod came and it was able to sell 10 times as much as those other devices that came before it, even though it wasn't as good. You know why? Because the way it was being marketed. The AirPod was being marketed what it was, 5 gigabytes of RAM, and this is what it is. Where Steve Jobs comes in and says, you can put 1,000 songs in your pocket, combine one. He understood the why. The Deen of Islam is more focused on the why. Why is it so many kids don't pray, wear hijab? They don't understand the why. And thus, then when they're able to do it, they don't feel the fervor and the love of the Deen. Think about when many people pray. You know, it's when they've done studies, they've asked people, when you're done praying, what's an emotion that you feel? Do you know what's an emotion most people feel when they're done praying? If you read The Discipline of Prayers, the first 4 chapters is the best book we have on prayers by Imam Khomeini. The first 4 chapters is the importance of teaching the youth how to love Islam where they don't feel burdened by following this religion, otherwise they can hate it. And we have many hadiths to show that as well. So then the question is, what do most adults feel when they're done praying? Can anybody guess? When you're done praying, when you finish Dhuhr and Asr, what was the emotion? Did you feel different? Because if you didn't feel different, then that prayer had very little value. When they've done studies, they've seen that many people
relief. Can you imagine going to your wife or your husband or going to your kids or your kids going to you say, I'm so relieved that I'm done cooking for you. I'm so relieved that I'm done doing the chores. How would that make you feel as a parent, as a wife, as a husband? Would you feel good about that? Now imagine we're doing that to Allah. So the question is, how do we find that love? Because it's, even watching today what's happening in Gaza, every day it's been a huge trial on me. But Allah says, I did not create you for this world. I created you for you to love me through this transaction, through this bridge, through all these trials. We're going to talk about the next couple nights, the 3 levels of patience that we have to have. Salawat. So to set the foundation, the Prophet, there's a famous hadith where he said, don't be the Jews of the Ummah. What did he mean by that? Who was waiting for the Prophet in Medina? It was the Jews, it was the Bani Israel. Yes or no? Yes. Was it in their books that he's coming there? Yes. So were they the religious ones? Yes or no? Yes. All of Surah Baqarah is about us. It's not about Bani Israel. It's actually talking to us. Because the Bani Israel was the religious ones back then. We're the religious ones now. They were waiting for the Prophet. Who are we waiting for right now? Our 12th Imam. And when the 12th Imam returns, when the Prophet returned and went to Medina, did the Jews accept him? Yes or no? No. Who accepted him? The non-religious, the idol worshippers, the Arabs. The ones that were leading in Medina, the Jews, they said, nope, we don't want to lose our power. And they fabricated lies so people didn't follow the Prophet. In the same token, when the 12th Imam returns, who do you think is going to follow him? You would think us. But look what's happening in the world in Gaza. Where in Gaza, what is it surrounded by? Muslims or non-Muslims? No. Muslims. Overnight, we could stop this problem if we were to unite, yes or no? So imagine when the 12th Imam returns. Do you think those same Muslims that could have stopped Gaza, those leaders, do you think they're going to accept the 12th Imam? So what do we do that's practical to make sure that we follow the ways of Imam Hussein's message? So when the 12th Imam returns, we're ready. So I'm going to give, because time is limited, just some practical examples. Allah says, oh, you believe. So who is he speaking to? To you. Oh, you believe. Respond to Allah and to the messenger so that which he could give you life. Wait. Oh, you believe. So he's already speaking to you, Allah. This is Ayah in the Quran, Surah Anfal, verse 24. Allah says, oh, you believe, respond to Allah and the messenger so that you could give what? Life. So what does Allah consider us if we don't follow the Prophet and Allah? Dead. Not physically, but spiritually. So then we'd have to say, wait, because many people, Imam alayhi salam, are dead. And when they die, then they wake up. So what is it about our souls, since it's not our physical existence, that could be dead? Because there's two sides to us. There's the tabiyah, the animalistic side, and the fitrah, the spiritual side. When a sister came in a couple of weeks ago, she says, I want to take off my hijab. I said, why? She says, well, I was kind of forced to put it on. I said, okay. Well, were you forced to learn how to tie your shoes? She said, what do you mean? I said, do you even remember the way you tied your shoes? She says, no. I said, how do you know you weren't forced? I think you should stop tying your shoes too. And anything else that may be good that your parents force you to do, that you should stop. And I said, what is the real reason why you want to go? Because this cannot be it. This is a loophole. I said, what are you trying to be? She says, I'm being a dentist. I said, then why do you want to take your hijab? She says, I just feel like it. I said, okay, I want you to go when you're being taught dentistry and you go to the dentist and now you're going to the patient and you tell your teacher, the reason why I didn't want to put in morphine in this person to remove the pain is because I felt like it. What would your dentist tell you? What would the school tell you? They'd kick you out. They'd call you crazy. Now imagine you go to court and you just robbed the bank and you tell the judge, the reason why I robbed the bank, because I felt like it. What would the judge tell you? He would throw you in prison. He would call you crazy. But do you know, from a moral angle, the West is trying to tell you, do everything that you feel. It's all okay. Watch what you want. Do what you want. Don't let nobody judge you. Well, guess where that's going to take you? It's going to take you to misery. Who says that? Allah says that. Allah says, when you put your low desires over what I want, I will give you the world. What make you seem just like Netanyahu, he'll give them more. But guess one thing, it'll never make you happy. You know what's the greatest failure in life? Is when you work so hard. Imagine going to school for 10, 20 years. You get your degree, you're making money, then you realize you're unhappy. That's the greatest failure in life, is when you achieve something, it doesn't make you happy. Do you think Netanyahu sleeps with peace? You think Yazid ever slept with peace? You think Saddam Hussein ever slept with peace? He lived in fear. On his first day, he brought them all. You can watch it on YouTube. Saddam Hussein brought the whole parliament in. He says, I'm going to say all the names of the traitors and stand up. And he would list off about 80 names. They all stood up, and the people that were sitting had to go and execute them. And these were some of their co-workers. They lived in fear. And hopefully this country, because I'm seeing the Western now talk, where they're saying, why is it that we're a puppet to Israel? Why are we following from this level? Why are so many of our American soldiers died in a cause for Israel? Shouldn't it be America first? What happened? Well, from the same angle, what about you? So I'm going to give you a simple Tawheed lesson and then one practical example. Because it's all about your relationship with Allah. When you have a thought, can a thought exist on its own? Or does it need the mind to generate a thought? So when you have a good thought, where does it come from? The mind. Can a thought exist on its own? Yes or no? And can a thought ever say, I'm good on my own? Or is it solely dependent on the mind for it being good? It's dependent on the mind. Can a thought exist on its own? No. So meaning, if your mind ever stopped giving your thoughts attention, what happens to the thought? It goes away. Do you know you have 70,000 thoughts a day? You know, when you live in the West and you're on social media for more than 2 hours a day, 90% of them are negative. Now, if you keep thinking negative thoughts, are negative things going to happen? Yes or no? Yes. We can prove it scientifically. Even housekeepers. They took 2 groups of housekeepers that were cleaning hotels. They told one group nothing. The other group, they told him, do you know you're doing enough exercise to lose weight? They put both housekeepers on the scale. The group that was told, they didn't change anything, that was told that you could lose weight, within 1 month, they lost 3% body fat. The other group, no change. What was the only difference? The why. The understanding. The same with the deen. If you're practicing, you're worshiping, you're putting on hijab, you're praying 5 times, but you don't know why you're doing it, it has very little impact on you because it's not done with love. Can you imagine your husband coming to you and your husband says, your husband cleans the room and he says, well, why'd you do that? He says, I don't know. Just felt like it. Would that make any sense? But yet we practice the deen like that? Salawat. So you have 70,000 thoughts a day. So should you start paying attention to what you think about? Absolutely. So when you have 70,000 thoughts, now if you have a thought, it's generated through the mind. If the mind stops giving the thought attention, what happens to the thought? It goes away. And any good the thought is because of the mind. Within Tawheed, all you are is the thought. Allah is the mind. Any good that you do is from Allah. And anything that you have, it's only because Allah is always giving you attention. That's it. Because if Allah ever stopped giving you attention for a second, just like a thought, you would disappear. That's why Allah is closer to you than your jugular vein. But here's the problem. You need to develop a relationship with Allah. How? You need to speak to Him. Oh Allah, I'm going to start praying. And I'm not going to stop. I miss Fajr prayer. For 40 nights, I'm not going to miss. Oh Allah, show me a sign through my dream. Show me a sign that leaves no doubt that it's you. For if I ever write a book, it'll be a book on testimonials where people have come and shared to me stories after doing something for 40 nights where their life has changed. For the next 10 nights, we're sharing stories of Imam Hussein's journey through Karbala. But I want to share one more ayah. And remember when Abraham said, my Lord, show me how you give life to the dead. So Prophet Abraham is asking Allah, how do you give life to the dead? Allah responds, do you not believe? Because we think it's taboo to ask questions. If you notice, prophets are always asking questions to Allah. How are you going to do this? When are you going to do this? How is this even possible? So many ayahs of the Quran. But yet sometimes through our upbringing, we're looked down on asking questions. Where the Holy Quran is filled with questions from prophets to God. So he said, do you not believe? Abraham replied, yes, I do, but just so my heart could be reassured. Oh Allah, I'm going through these trials. Can you show me a path where my heart is going to be at peace? You get to speak to Allah that way. Because there's different levels of patience. But when you're going through trials and you're on the brink, speak to Allah. Do you know before you go to anybody else for your problems, who should you go to? Allah. So yes, I do, but just so my heart could be reassured, then bring 4 birds. Train them to come to you. Scatter and call them back and they will fly to you in haste. Who called them back after Prophet Abraham split up the birds, put one on each mountaintop? Then who called them back for them to come back? Was it Allah or Prophet Abraham? It was Prophet Abraham. Imagine the power Allah gave him. Allah gave you the same power. But you have to live Allahly, godly. So then they called back. Allah knows is almighty, all wise. So I want to give an example of which each bird was. Because each bird represents your lower self. And when you call it back and you take heed and you take the reins of this animal, then you start controlling it. Because what happens, especially when you go where everything is feeling driven, I felt like it. Why don't you pray on time? I didn't feel like it. Why'd you talk back to your mom? I felt like it. Everything is feeling driven. Well, can't you think, I have a best friend that's an NBA player. And he came to the kids and he said, yes, I woke up at 5 o'clock in the morning every day. So then the kids will be excited, say, you know what, I'm going to do that. 5 o'clock in the morning, the mind says MBA. What does the body say? Go back to sleep. So if you can't think greater than the way you feel, will you be limited? Yes. And then you wake up 40 years old and you can't take care of your kids because you made bad decisions as a teenager. That's hell, especially if you live in the West. Why? Because you couldn't think greater than the way you feel. Imam Hussein's message was all about thinking greater than the way you feel. How did they defeat the people in Kufa? They either put them through fear or they bribed them. How are they defeating the Muslims? Why are there so many spies in Iran? Why are there so many spies in Lebanon? For what reason? Because they see only this world and they're willing to sell their soul. Think about it. For the brothers that pray, inshallah, everybody in here prays. What if I were to hand you $1 million not to pray for a day? Would you consider it? What if I gave you $2 million? Just don't wear your hijab for one day. Would you consider it? You notice the message of Imam Hussain said, just give allegiance to Yazid and we'll leave your family alone. What did he say? And we'll give you all the money. They told the Prophet the same thing. He says, I was born free, I will die free. Unfortunately, because of where we think happiness lies, unfortunately, we sell our souls. So now I want to quickly just represent what each bird. Then ask yourselves, pick one for yourself. The first one, the peacock. That was one bird. It represented the ego, vanity. So what's a question you want to ask yourself? How do you get rid of the peacock in you? Because you know you could die. And when you die and you go in barzakh in the day of judgment, you could be resurrected as an animal, as a pig, as a snake. And that's hell for you. Knowing you could have been amongst the angels, but because you followed your low desires, you've morphed into this creature. And now that you could be forever. That's what's going to happen to Netanyahu. Do you think Netanyahu is going to be resurrected into an angel? Or lower than a snake? Yes. So we want to make sure we're nothing like these people. So the first one is the peacock. That's the ego. So what's the question do you ask yourself to get rid of the ego? Do I secretly compare myself to others? I see the people that have a lot, the people that live. I look at stars. I look at people, the way they dress, people that do haram, and I secretly admire them. So that's the first thing. Is your biggest role model Imam Hussain alayhi salam? Or is it somebody that puts a ball in a hoop or kicks a ball in a net? Which one is it? Because if I were to tell you, wake up for Fajr, think about this. If I gave you $1 million every day to wake up to go and wake up to walk around the block, would you do it? Yes or no? Every day I tell you guys, wake up, 5 o'clock in the morning, here's $1 million. Would you do it? Yes or no? Would anybody miss a day? No. If I gave you $1 million to kill yourself, would you do it? You'd say, no, that's absurd. My life is priceless. How could I spend the money if I kill myself? So who gave you your life? Allah. So why is it for me, for the money, you'll wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning? But when God tells you wake up for Fajr, who's given you more than $1 million, who's given you life, and he's the one that wakes you up every day, why don't you wake up for him? What's the answer? Because we don't believe in it. You believe in the material more. So we've overbalanced and took the extreme fact of the material, and we haven't balanced the spiritual. So how do we do it? You have to ask questions. Why am I doing this? For how is this important in my life? Why is it I'm putting my desires over what God wants? Because the reverse also happens. When you put what God wants over your desires and you stop following the way you feel, God sends angels to help you. He could even help you directly. Our problem is we don't believe that. So how do you fix that? Suspend your beliefs. You say, for the next 40 nights, this is what I'm going to do to you, God, for you, God. Show me a sign that it's working. And when God shows you that sign, and I'll share those testimonials. And I'll be more focused on the companions of Imam Hussain for the next 10 days. This is just an introductory conversation. But those testimonials, you'll start saying, wait, if it could happen to them and they look just like me, then maybe it could happen to me. But you have to get in the game. You can't just observe and watch. You have to go in and say, oh Allah, I'm going to go through trials. Yes, I'm going to dress maybe more modestly. Yes, my friends don't pray. I'm going to stick out and start praying. But Allah, show me a sign that it's working. So the first one is the peacock. Then the duck. Love and comfort. That was the other bird. Am I building a life of meaning or just collecting distractions? Meaning, if you died right now, what would you be known for? Helping people in Gaza? We just had, it's called Heal Palestine. We had 5 kids from Gaza that were just flown here. They were all here to get prosthetic legs. And I'll share the stories when I spoke to them. You know, for 5 hours we played with them. It's the most humbling experience in my life. Because guess what they didn't do for 5 hours? Complain. If you go on the Wise Academy's website, you'll see it. It's an organization called Heal Palestine. And from there, the next day, they were going to Chicago and other places to get prosthetic legs. There was one kid on the monkey bars. He had no legs. He said, I was going to be an Olympic swimmer. And some of them, their whole families wiped out. And their only sadness was they didn't have shahada with their family. We're going to talk about that. How in this West, we become really experts at complaining. Think about when somebody just cuts us off, we can't take it. So there's the duck. Am I building a life of meaning? The next one, the rooster, the lust. What desires do I obey more than God? And then the vulture, the long desires. What am I waiting for to turn to Allah? So I'm going to ask, out of these 4 questions, I'm going to pick one. And then you talk to the person next to you and you try to answer the question. I'll pick, what desires we'll do this one. What am I waiting for to turn even closer to Allah? If I pray, do I wake up for Fajr? If I wake up for Fajr, maybe wake up for the night prayer. When's the last time I've done something where I've memorized the surah? Or I've done something where just between me and Allah for the ummah, and I've shared it with nobody? What's one thing that you could do that could strengthen you for the message of the 10 nights for Imam Hussain? And then you get to ask Allah, show me a sign that it's working. Just like Prophet Abraham did. So the question you want to ask the person next to you, and then we'll welcome up Sayyid Ali, is what am I waiting for to get even closer to Allah? What's one thing that I could start doing even better? Talk to the person next to you and share that. Go ahead. Have that discussion. Salawat.
Thank you, Brother Hussein. At this point, we move towards the English Musiba and the Latmiyah. I do just want to give a short, brief introduction to our dear Sayyid Ali Alhakeem. Sayyid Ali Alhakeem is an optometrist by trade, but more importantly, he's a reciter and he's a servant of the Ahlul Bayt. As Imam Elahi mentioned, he's traveled over almost 4,000 miles to be here, and the last time we've had him was almost 8 years ago. So we're happy to have him. Inshallah, if you can help me in welcoming Sayyid Ali Alhakeem after 3 loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Jazakumullah khair jaza, Hajjina, for a beautiful lecture, and Assalamu alaikum to you all. It's a pleasure to be back here in Michigan to serve alongside you in the servitude of Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam. Of course, we are going on to a journey with Imam al-Hussain where each night we will be lamenting a different theme related to certain heroes of Karbala, and we take lessons and we try and apply them to our life. And on this first night, we will be discussing the Imam as they are leaving the caravan. So please lower your heads and let's go on a journey back in time, a number of months prior to the day of Ashura. Let us set the scene for the upcoming nights of grief and adha and describe the events which resulted in our holy Imam being butchered, left alone, and stripped of all his belongings. Assalamu alayka ya Hussain. Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah. Assalamu alayka ya ibn Rasulillah. And of course, our Imam, he had a dream. That night, the Imam, aware of what was about to unfold in the coming months, knew that he must leave Medina. He went to the grave of his grandfather, Rasulullah, and began to converse with his beloved. Imagine Al-Hussein talking in front of the grave as if he was saying, Assalamu alayka ya Rasulullah, ana al-Hussein. Peace be upon you, O my beloved grandfather. This is me, Hussain, son of Az-Zahra, whom you left behind on this earth as an heir. Bear witness, O Rasulullah, that this community has not supported me and have turned their backs on me. The Imam began weeping and crying and praying through the night. The following day, the Imam returned to the grave, recited Salah, and ended with a dua saying, "O Allah, this is the grave of your Prophet and I am his grandson. You are aware of what has befallen me. I cherish virtue and righteousness and refuse evil." The Imam then pleaded to Allah by the right of the grave of the final Prophet to bring forth what has been planned for the Imam. This is a dua. The Imam began to cry and tears dripped down his blessed cheek until he fell asleep and saw a dream. The Holy Prophet was present with a group of angels and turned to Al-Hussein saying, "Habibi ya Hussein, I will see you soon, smeared in your own blood, slaughtered on the land of Karbala. Karbala, and a group of people from the Ummah will behead you. Wa Wayla, Wa Husayna, you're kill thirsty and your thirst will not be quenched until you die. Oh Hussein, your parents and your brother have joined me in paradise, and a high place in Jannah awaits you after you attain martyrdom. Imam al-Hussein, he replied, I don't desire to return back to the world. Please take me into your grave. The Prophet said, no, you need to return and be killed. And this is what Allah has decreed, and how you will attain your special place with us. Ajarakum Allah. The Imam awoke and met with his family and companions and informed them of the dream. They all started to prepare to depart. And what's a departure? This is the last time Al-Abbas would see his mother Ummul Baneen. Imagine what she would say to her child. Al-Wada Bunayya Abbas. My son Abbas, make me proud in front of Fatima to Zahra. And just imagine the scene, Zainab, Sayyida Zainab bidding her husband Ja'far farewell. Did he know that when she returned she would have endured such pain and suffering? Did he know of the journey she was about to embark on? Did he kiss her hands and her feet and her back in preparation for the whips during the journey? Wa musibata. And finally Imam al-Hussein visits Salama and bids his salam and tells her he would be departing. She wept and informed him of the tragedies that Rasulullah narrated to her. Al-Hussein says, Oh Salama, I am aware of what will happen to me and my family. I am aware of what will happen to my brother Al-Abbas. I am aware of what will happen to my sons Ali al-Akbar and Ali al-Asghar. And the journey ended only in the land of Karb wa Bala. Inna lillah وإنا إليه راجعون وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون والعاقبة للمتقين. Please stand up for the Aza. جزاكم الله خير الجزاء. يا حسين ومصابة يا حسين ومصابة يا حسين ومصابة يا حسين ومصابة خويا ويا روحي الهادي يا حسين ومصابة زينب تسوين وتنادي يا حسين ومصابة يا حسين يا الذكرك بطرف لساني. Voices. يا حسين
وانا اعتقد بدفترك عنواني يا حسين ومصاب عاشاك لليوم الوعد تنساني يا حسين ولجل العين ستشابه يا حسين ولجل العين ستشابه يا حسين ومصاد.
جزاكم الله خير الجزاء. Your chorus is Karbala, Karbala and Shabab as we practiced upstairs. Karbala, Karbala. Before it's allowed Salat ala Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad. And please Matam with my hand.
The hour has arrived, left to never return. Last breaths in Medina. By God, my stance is firm. I have gathered my kin. Seeing them, my heart's burn. Seeing my destiny, I see Zainab concern. Karbala, Karbala, louder! Karbala, Karbala, we can do better. Karbala, even louder. Karbala, Karbala, it's the final farewell. If you want to find me, a trail of blood you'll see. It will guide you to me. Death is sweeter than life, which is under tyranny. I am here to reform this nation of the Nabi. Karbala, Karbala, louder! Karbala, MashaAllah, Karbala. Grandfather, you will miss me. Soon we'll be united. I will yearn for your scent. To guide I'm invited, but I will be betrayed. Your women will be frightened. No one will protect them. They won't see me silence. Karbala, Karbala, louder! Karbala, Karbala, even louder! Karbala, Karbala, so close and yet so far. The land which embraced you became hostile to me. My men 72, and against the cruel world, they've come to give me aid. The world will see today what we already knew. Karbala, Karbala, louder! Karbala, again, Karbala, Karbala, Shia of the future. Don't let these small numbers stop you in doing the right. For in truth there's honor, and disgrace is falsehood. Righteous live forever, tyrants always despair. Today rule the martyrs. Karbala, 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 ya Hilal, ya Hilal, من تهل يا هلال. من نشوفك نحزن وما يظل حال، نذكر المظلوم بالطف والعيال، نذكر حسين وعطش دلالة، نذكر حسين وعطش دلالة. يا الحياة يا الحياة وقسم نقسم يا الحياة، لولا أهل البيت أهل المكرمات، من وجد جن وإنس لا كائنات، ولن وجد هذا الوجود خياله. يا النبي يا النبي وش كبر جرحك يا النبي، يوم ذبحوا صبطك الطهر لأبيه، ويوم شفت اختى العقيلة تنسبي، وشفت ضعنا والعذاب الناله، وشفت ضعنا والعذاب الناله. اشحال ينبوع الصبر حيدر علي، من سمع زينب تنادي يا هلي، شنهي ترضون انسبي ولهن ولي، وعلى اشباه البشر تتوالى، وعلى اشباه البشر تتوالى. يم حسين يا الزهرة البتول، لو حضرت بكربلاء وشفت الخيول، يا الزكية فوق صدر ابنك تجول، وما لهم عين اللي يردهم ماله، وما لهم عين اللي يردهم ماله. ريتك بطف كربلاء يا المجتبى، يوم اخوك تولدت بيض الضبا، وطاح دامي خامس اصحاب العبا، يا الحسن ريتك تشاهد حاله. ويا ملائكة السما ويا مفضله، يوم عاشر من حضرتوا بكربله، شلون خليتوا الشمر يدنا إله، وما فزعتوا لما نتعناله. يا الشمس يا الشمس والعجب منك يا الشمس، ليش حرك يا الشمس جسمه يمس، من 3 أيام ظل خير الانس، عالترب مطروح ما حد شاله، عالترب مطروح ما حد شاله. صلوات.
If we can please face the Qibla for Dua al-Faraj. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad.
اللهم كن لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن، صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة، وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا، حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. يا الله يا الله يا الله. اللهم بحق المضطر أجب المضطر ونحن المضطرون يا الله. اللهم شافي كل مريض بحق مريض كربلاء زين العابدين، ورحم الله من قرأ سورة الفاتحة لكل المؤمنين والمؤمنات، لا سيما أموات الحاضرين. تسبق الصلاة على محمد وآل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين.
Ajarakumullah jami'an. Ahsantum, dear Sayyid. Brothers and sisters, there's a couple minutes left until prayer. At this time, please go make your wudu for Jama'ah prayer. Inshallah, we'll have refreshments and a light dinner after the Salat Jama'ah, inshallah. And inshallah, we see you tomorrow for our program beginning at 7:30 p.m. and for the youth program beginning at 6 p.m. inshallah. With that said, salam